So here today we are doing the SEO Q&A webinar. This is Bob here, the head of growth of Next Academy. So thanks for joining us if you are joining us and if you're watching this pre-recorded. So today we have Conrad. He's from Brighttail. He's the digital marketing manager at Brighttail, and he is one of the instructors for SEO for the digital marketing product launch bootcamp. So today he will be answering some questions that you submitted on SEO, and do submit your questions if you are watching this live as well, or if you're watching this recorded. What you can do is you can also ask questions by DMing us. So give us a few seconds. Do you share the link already?
Yeah, sharing now.
All right, so we will share this video in a moment. So today's webinar is brought to you by Martech Summit. Hey, if you're watching this, Kushbu, thank you. So we have a target here for today's webinar. If we get 15 shares, right? 15 shares for this webinar, we will actually give out a ticket for the Martech Summit happening on 5th and 6th September, somewhere next week. And this ticket is worth 179 ringgit. So anyone watching now, please share it on Facebook if you're watching this. And once you share it, if we hit 15 shares, we'll be giving out this ticket. Okay? So give me a sec so we can share our part of the videos right now.
Yeah, I just did.
Okay.
Okay. Robin Conrad joined.
Oh, nice. So I'll share that video. You can actually do like a watch party. You can start a watch party.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much a watch party.
Oh, yeah, there's a party. Okay.
Oh, I have a relative from the Netherlands who's checked in.
Yep.
Christel van Os.
So you guys watching, 4 people, probably not many of us yet online. So Robin is partially from Netherlands, so and also partially Thai. So it's very interesting. So if you have any questions about Dutch and Thai, you can ask us as well. So yeah, so once we hit 15 shares, we'll get to Martech. We give you tickets to the Martech Summit happening next week. So share this 15 times. And Fionn, hey Fionn is just joined. Fionn is our past students. I don't know if you taught her, but Fionn, please share this video. And once we get 15 shares, we're giving out this ticket to worth 179 ringgit to the Martech Summit. So, all right, Robin. So what do you actually explain a bit about your role at Brighttail?
So I do digital marketing.
Yeah.
So pretty much across the board. That includes SEO, SEM, email marketing, social media marketing.
Okay.
But important to note is that I specialize in SEO.
Yeah.
So mostly it's B2B.
B2B.
B2B stuff. And the interesting part here is that when we do certain campaigns for our clients, is that it actually encompasses all the components of digital marketing as part of a singular campaign. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. But that's pretty much my day-to-day job.
Yeah. Just in summary, what Robin does is Brighttail is a B2B tech marketing agency. So most of the work you do is for SEO, for B2B marketing.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Cool. Hi. Oh, so we have a past student join us as well. Hi, Alex. Hello.
Hi, Alex.
Any questions you have, Alex, please leave it in the comments and we will get to you. And also, please share this video. We're giving out tickets to Martech Summit. So just a bit, I'm a big fan of B2B marketing. So I love B2B marketing. So just for the audience here, B2B means business to business. So the reason why B2B is a great place to do marketing first is the deal size is large. If you get a deal, it can be 100,000 to millions. So basically it's business to business. So it's a lot of contract basis. The sales cycle is also very long. We were just talking, the sales cycle can take up to a year, or the sales cycle. But once you get that business, it's long term and it's high revenue.
Yes, correct.
So Robin, as a B2B marketer, what are your favorite channels to do B2B marketing?
It's actually component stuff, but if you're talking about, let's say, social media, the preferred platform is obviously LinkedIn. So we've had several successes with LinkedIn, but we find that for the most part, actually email marketing has proven to be very effective, and we also do a lot of pull marketing. So talking about like Google Ads, basically, search ads, display ads. And the thing about getting our clients' brands out there is that our clients' potential customers are actually looking for very, very specific solutions, and we're basically the guys to provide that for our clients. So we have to identify very specific individuals. We're talking about people, very specific people. So when we target, we're not targeting, hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of people. We're literally targeting maybe, 10, 20, 30 people. And
who are the decision makers, right?
Yes. So we only, all that we produce are primarily targeted at decision makers.
Yeah. So I think the buzzword this year that I hear around the B2B space is they call it account-based marketing.
Right.
Basically, it's just marketing targeted towards the key decision makers.
Yes.
Like if you are running an ad campaign, speak to the CMO, speak to the CTO, speak to the CEO. So like understand what are the challenges and the pains of the target audience. And it's only like 5-10 people in the world. So it's quite amazing stuff.
Yeah, but sometimes it's quite tricky to navigate as well. So failure is totally something that happens regularly. But at least with that, each step of the way, we're always fine-tuning our campaigns and we're always fine-tuning our marketing funnels.
Yeah. Cool. So I think we have about 9 people watching. Say hello. How long? So Fion's question, right? Fion has a few questions. So Fion, we'll get to Fion's questions. So anyone of you have questions when it comes to SEO, please do drop in as well. And if you are live watching us here, please just drop us a hello. Or if you're watching live, just drop us a live and let us know where you're watching from. And if you have any questions, marketing related, just put it in, or even better, SEO. So let's just do Fion's question first, which is quite similar to one of our questions we have. So Fion, thanks for asking. So I just give you context, right? Just to promote Fion as well. Fion is the CEO of Sticker Red. So she does like B2C stickers, customized stickers, and she also does some B2B as well for corporations to do stickers. Am I right, Fion? So what Fion asks is, how long does it take to show on the first page of Google search?
There's no ABC answer to this. It can take anywhere to 1-2 days, all the way up to 1 year. However, there are some really cool, quick hacks that can help you get ranked very, very quickly. And the magic is basically Marcus is there. So basically, where was I? It's using markups, HTML markups. So that's a really cool hack for 2019. So if, let's say, you're if you're in your blog section and you have a list, right? A list within that blog page, right? You can actually put around a structured data that involves a schema markup. So that when, let's say, you're being searched on Google and you put on certain keyword, Google always tends to prioritize those with markup tags, basically. Like when you put in a search into Google, and then you see very basic search results, and then sometimes you see like a result and then the list right underneath that, right? So that's a schema markup, basically. So if you incorporate some of those cool hacks, then you could definitely start ranking a lot quicker.
So basically, a schema markup is to break down content to points, right?
That's one. They have several types of
Okay.
schema markups. So you have schema markups for images as well.
Okay.
So a schema markup for images would look like basically you have images as right on the top before your ads, before any of the results are shown. You'll have basically these images which are shown right next to each other, and you can actually scroll through them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have them for images, even videos as well. So various type of schema markups for various type of content, basically. And Google has a beautiful page that's dedicated to understanding how to code or how to structure your data, applying schema markups.
Yeah, cool. So for the audience, like to make this question more practical, is what is the best practices when it comes to schema markups, or is there a resource that I can refer to apply the best schema markups?
That's yes for both of your questions.
Yeah.
Starting with your second question, so in terms of reference points from Google itself. So you go into Google and type in just Google markup data or Google markup code, then it's going to basically provide you a list of different types of markups. And as for how to go about that, it really depends on the type of blog page.
Okay.
So certain blog pages you have lists, certain blog pages you have images, or various types of format, right? But content related, but various types of formats. And so you have to see first, based on that content, right, which markup you want to use for that page, right? So it differs from page to page.
Yeah. So that's quite technical as well. So for the audience, please look up the correct markup for your blog content.
Yes.
I would add to Fion's question. It also, it depends on the keyword. So earlier this year, it was very easy to rank for keywords with the word 2019. If you find there is a trend for searches with like maybe jobs, coding jobs or digital marketing jobs 2019, you'll be able to rank easily because that's not a very competitive keyword. So it depends on the competitiveness of the keyword as well. If it's a less competition, probably you rank quite fast, maybe 1 day, 2 days.
Exactly.
Days.
So, no, that's totally true. But also to add to that is the type of, you have your niche keywords, but it's also a lot to do with the type of keywords you surround that keyword with. So then you come up with a long tail phrase, basically, right? Yeah. So if let's say someone wants to get ranked for clothing and clothing alone, just a keyword alone, you're basically selling yourself short because there are millions of other people who are trying to rank for those same keywords. So it's best to kind of like divert away from that and perhaps be more specific. What type of clothing? When was it released? Where was it made? And you add this around your main keyword, then there's a good chance that you'll be ranked for that better as well.
Cool. I think that's good. So my further question to that is, okay, so Fion runs her own business, right? What if so a lot of the tactics we talk about is very good for blogs, very good for content.
Yes. So
what if what she means is, how do I get my homepage on the first page of Google? It's
a whole bunch of stuff, really.
Yeah.
You can't just, for example, you can't just do keywords alone and focus on that and expect your website to get ranked. And at the same time, you can't expect to apply, different types of schema markups without using keywords and expect that to rank. So it's actually it's a mix and match of several SEO components, which you have to include. So there's structured data, there's keywords, how you use them, talking about HTML tags as well. And once you kind of have a slightly more well-packaged SEO campaign that's going, then it would be fair to at least anticipate your ranking.
Okay. Yeah. So, but is it fair to say for most, like Fion runs a small, medium enterprise, for most enterprises or for most companies, it's easier to get ranked with your content rather than your, let's say, product or home pages?
There could be a bit of both. If you have a really great product, right, then you never know. You might not even need content. If your product speaks for itself, you might not even need content. The only content you might need is maybe just a product description, right? where you can also use your keywords in as well, actually. But it really depends. It's one of those two subjective questions.
So there are many ways to it. So in our so when you join us for digital marketing product launch bootcamp, you actually work on a landing page. So when it comes to getting a landing page ranked, there's so many factors from keywords to a lot of on-site optimization stuff like markups or tags and things like that. So Robin teaches is one of our instructors, so he actually gave a lot of advice and a lot of best practices that we have in class. So but if you have even more specific questions, to keep them coming in. I think we also sort of neglected Instagram. So hi Instagram.
Forgot about
Instagram. So hi Instagram. So Instagram, if you have any questions, do let us know. So let us know if there's any questions on Instagram.
Mark, we can always expect Mark to ask a tricky question. But first,
it's a good question.
It's a really good question. But perhaps also to give a little bit of insight. So Mark, he's actually a childhood friend of mine, and he runs a very successful marketing agency in Bangkok. So I would not be surprised that he's asking tricky question like that. But it's a good question nonetheless. So how do you measure? So the question is, how do you measure return on investment?
So let me take this question. So how do you measure the return on investment when it comes to B2B marketing? So I understand the premise of this question, because when it comes to B2B marketing, a lot of times the client or the company is satisfied with leads. So do you measure it by leads, or do you look at the whole funnel and say, hey, when it only becomes a sale after the whole sales cycle, that you attribute it as ROI?
Well, okay. So how, at least for Bright Sales, so how we work is that our clients, right, they actually buy points.
Okay.
Right? And so these points they can use for content, they can use for digital marketing or SEO, they can use for design, they could use for website optimization, various things that they could basically use the points for. So of course these points cost the client money, right? So let's say a client buys 100 points for the year, and 100 points is worth $100,000
Okay.
Right, for example.
All right.
So let's say if they're going to be using all of those points within that year on various different components, we have to measure on each individual component, mostly on the digital marketing side. And so we have email marketing. There's a measurement there. Also the leads that we generate from social media campaigns. And also Google advertising as well. And once we kind of get all that data from each of these different digital marketing components, we add that up and then we tally that with the sales revenue that the client has had from that campaign.
Okay.
You get it? And then basically you just kind of you just minus that off.
Okay.
And then that's when the client knows that whether he's made a profit or a loss. But fortunately, we have not made our clients lose any money with us yet. Right, touch wood. But that's pretty much the gist of it. So
it's harder to quantify in a way, because like we said earlier, the sales cycle is very long. So you might do like a campaign and get the lead in, but that lead only converts like 18 months later, 10 months later.
That's why we do everything usually per annum.
Okay.
So when we run a campaign, we run it for a minimum of 6 months.
All right.
Minimum. So that means very long email workflows.
Okay.
Content optimization, SEO optimization, and even Google Ads. So we run a huge bunch of Google Ads at any given time for just one specific client. One client.
Okay, cool.
So it really depends, but otherwise, we charge. There's the agency cost, and then there's also the marketing cost that goes with it. We add it up, and then.
I hope we answered Mark's question.
I know,
but
Mark,
it's a very broad question.
It is.
Robin will PM you after this. Hi, Eng Ho. Thanks for joining. Hi, Eng Ho. Hi, Lena. Hi, Woon Han, who's joined as well. Interesting. How many people are on Instagram? 3. All right. Cool.
30.
3. Oh, okay. Cool.
No.
All right. Okay. All right. So yeah, for Facebook, if you have any questions, do keep them coming in. So we are giving out tickets to the Martech Summit worth 179 ringgit. So keep the shares coming. Currently, how many shares? Five shares. So keep them coming. 10 more shares to us giving out this ticket, and keep your questions coming in as well. So back to our questions about SEO. So we had a question on how do you get ranked on first page, and one of the easiest ways is to choose a less competitive or a long tail keyword. So like Eloslai asked, how do you develop how do you do your keyword research for a product or a website?
First and foremost, it's really understanding your target audience.
Yeah,
it starts there. So once you've identified your target audience, you want to kind of develop topics.
Yeah.
Various type of topics that you feel will be very valuable or insightful towards your target audience. So once you've developed these topics, you can call them topic buckets, right? So once you have these different topics, then what you do is you kind of just come up with some of your own keywords. And you dump them inside these topic buckets.
Yeah.
Okay. Once you've done that, then you do some keyword research. So there's a lot of great tools that you could use. We suggest I use SEMrush for this.
Okay.
And it will basically suggest to you some other keywords that you could use, organically speaking, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing, so when you're doing that keyword research, you also want to take into consideration things like search volume, whether or not there are other websites which are also ranking for those keywords already, because you don't want to end up using keywords that are going to be really, really tough to rank for. So for that, you also have to do your competitive keyword research. So what keywords are your competitors using?
Yeah.
And then finally, the last step is compiling your keywords into those topic clusters. So that would basically kind of give you your foundation into setting up your content planning as well.
All right.
So that's the in a nutshell answer.
So in a nutshell, so when it comes to keyword research, right, you said look at the competition, right? So and when I do research, I see like if the top ranking sites are like HubSpot or like companies that do a lot of SEO or a lot of SEO companies in there. So one is the search volume, and then followed by competitors.
But this is more of the smaller scale stuff. So things like competitive keywords, search volumes, keyword difficulty. I would say though, above all, when it comes to the main thing to consider when doing keyword research is always going to be user intent.
Okay.
There's really no point coming up with great keywords with like tens of thousands of searches every single month. But if those keywords do not link or do not connect to your audience, it basically defeats the purpose.
Basically, what I gather is to find that gold nugget, that keyword, right, is a long tail keyword that has a good search volume.
A healthy amount, I would say.
A healthy amount,
Search volume is not a primary. I wouldn't even say secondary.
Okay.
To be honest, it's just something to kind of keep in mind.
Yeah.
If let's say there's you're trying to sell clothing. Let's say if you're doing B2C, so obviously you would rather tap into keywords that have at least maybe 1,000 or so monthly search volumes, right? But it still boils down to user intent. That's like the golden word for this.
Okay.
It really is. So user intent will always be your top priority when you're doing your keyword research, and then from there you kind of boil it down into your competitive keywords or LSI keywords or long tail phrases and so forth, and then you kind of match that with other numerical data like search volumes, keyword difficulty, and so forth.
All right. So to give a solid example to our audience, so maybe they don't understand the word user intent. So let's take an example. Like if I want to buy a mobile phone, like a Samsung phone, for example. So a good intent would be Samsung mobile phone price, or what's your thought?
No, I would probably say pros and cons of Samsung's new phone.
Okay.
Or why you should not buy a Samsung, right? Because that actually be very surprised. That's going to generate more traffic to people who are interested in the phone, right? Instead of for that very same user looking for why they should be buying that phone, right?
So pros and cons, and why you should not buy a Samsung phone.
Just kind of top of the mind examples.
Yeah. So the context there is when someone searches for pros and cons of Samsung phone, or what if like someone searches Samsung phone versus Huawei, for example. So the psychology behind it is when I'm looking for reasons not to buy, I'm actually very interested, or I'm actually making a consideration towards it, so that I'm in the consideration phase. So the intent is higher.
Actually, no. So let's say if you're trying to get ranked for why you should not buy a Samsung, and then there's a Samsung, at least a person who's interested in buying a Samsung actually visits that content, you're probably going to state why they should not buy it. But the thing, it's always how you use your words.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So let's say it's like you should not buy it, right? Because this phone has killer specs.
Okay.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. It's got, one of the world's best cameras, which you don't really need, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? So you're kind of saying something good about it, right?
Yeah.
So drawing them into like, wait, they're saying like, why I should not buy Samsung, but then they're saying all of these things which are good about it. You know what I mean? Which reminds me of this tourism campaign that was done by Thailand, why they say 10 reasons why you should not visit Thailand.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen that video. Have you seen that video?
No.
No? Okay, but it's a similar concept. What you're trying to do first and foremost is actually driving traffic.
Okay.
Right? So once you have the traffic, once the people actually land on your page, it's up to you to work your magic in terms of how you want to use your keywords there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So another example is why you should not buy Samsung phones. And then what's the other example?
Pros and cons.
Pros and cons
Of buying a Samsung.
So to tie that back to search intent, right? So when I search for pros and cons, I'm looking for comparisons, right? So my intent is generally I'm going to buy, but I'm looking for reasons to buy.
Yes. Yeah. You have to first understand. So from your keywords, obviously, when you're talking about something like buying a phone, the typical user would go through maybe 5, 10, 20 different sources until he actually makes that decision to purchase a phone. So to understand what information that he's gathering along the way, right? Whether they're specifications, whether they're comparison pages, that there's actually a very specific kind of flow that happens. If you understand that flow, and then you're the person that's selling the phone, then you want to basically get the keywords right at the bottom of the funnel. So those kind of keywords would be possibly, get this, buy the Samsung and get a free casing plus a screen protector plus a ticket to a concert. I don't know, anything really. What I mean? And just finding those keywords. So the best tool actually I would use for this is that you put in some of your competitor websites, right?
Okay.
And then you kind of draw out some of those keywords.
All right.
Right? And then that will basically give you a head start in understanding what kind of user intent driven keywords you could possibly use.
Oh, user intent keywords. So intent is very key when it comes to keywords.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. So I think we have new questions from Instagram. Brandon has joined. Hi, Brandon. So we are up to 6 shares now, probably 9 more shares, and we'll be giving up tickets to the Martech Summit. We'll be learning about tech and possibly some tech for SEO as well. So let's go back to our questions from Facebook.
Wait, there's one more question here. Shall I give that a quick answer?
It's okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mark.
Yeah. So we talked a bit about intent, right? So we have to finish this. So when we talk about intent, it also boils down. Just now we talk about optimizing your on-site, optimizing your page content. So what is the best way to actually optimize your page? What are the things you look out for? Tags?
Oh wow, it's actually a long list. I think of your question here. it's a long list.
Yeah. But is there a place that our audience can look for when it comes to on-site optimization?
I think, of course, one of the first things to start with SEO, and that's one thing that's very important, especially for 2019, and at least for the foreseeable future, is that content and SEO are tied in. Right. So what you actually want to do for SEO, although not directly correlated to SEO, but rather indirectly, is actually a content plan. Right. You need to have an established content plan. What are you posting? What type of keywords? Things like that. And now how you go about structuring this content, that's where the SEO comes in. So we're talking about HTML tags, which you have in your title tags, your various header tags, not forgetting your meta description as well. A meta description is basically a way for your crawler to kind of help identify right, what page what pages a searcher is looking for. And also when talking about structuring your content or your blog, where you use a title tag, for example, you definitely want to use your primary keyword in your title tag. And then maybe perhaps some of your secondary keywords, maybe even LSI keywords in your H2, H3. And don't be shy to use your main keyword in the first 100 words of your piece of your content. So that's some of the content stuff that you could do as well. But that would be the best start. So once you have your content plan, which basically some of the things I mentioned earlier, once you have your content plan, then you can start thinking about how do you optimize your website for it, right? So that's also on-page SEO. You have like your site speed, whether you're using structured data, robot text, for example. There's 500 different signals, and seeing basically you don't have to, score a straight A for every single Google signal, just the ones that matter the most. And also it would be good practice to kind of keep up to date with some of the trends, because Google has a tendency to update these signals from time to time.
Cool. So linking back to content, right? Basically how we came up with that content plan is just now we talk about keyword research. Getting the right keywords with the right intent and then putting them into clusters. And with that clusters, come out with the content plan for your blogs or for your website. So I think it links back to a question from Terence Tan, that a very, very interesting question, which is, can you do SEO, without blog or constant content updates?
SEO is content. They're pretty much a sibling relationship. You can't have an SEO campaign that excludes content. It just doesn't happen that way, because at the end of the day, what bridges your website with the people searching is content. There's nothing in between that, right? I'm typing something into the Google search bar. The website that's going to rank is not going to be the one with the best structured data, right? It's the one that is the most user intent via content. So absolutely important. You need content in order to stay on top of your SEO. So if it's bad news, I'm sorry, but it's just the way of the world.
You have to, get up your content if, you are heavily reliant on SEO for your traffic or SEO for lead generation. Please, if it's the priority, get content constantly going. So once we talk about content, right? So we focus a lot about on-site. So when it comes to off-site, so we go off-page SEO, is Google actually looks at links, right? So you have certain content or your homepage or your product pages, if you have a lot of links. So just to explain to the audience how Google looks at a website. First, it looks at the content, the off-site, and also it looks at how many people are linking to you. So that are the signals that are sent to Google. So one of the things that, a question that Mohammad Effendi asked, how do he says fight,
About off-page SEO.
So
go Edward.
So first, okay, before we go to spam links, right? So we talk about a bit about off-page SEO.
So as Bob briefly mentioned about linking, so that is definitely one of the most popular ways for off-page SEO. But I think the most important part here is also what are you backlinking to, or what other people are backlinking to you. It's a bit of a two-way street, though. I'll say that, right? You can do backlinks yourself, and you can also have guest bloggers or influencers and whatnot who are backlinking your content or your website to their website. But the other quick trick here, or quick tip here, is actually to remember websites with high domain authority. So if you actually start linking your website is being linked to websites which have a low domain authority, it could actually backfire.
All right.
So it really depends. Usually, like my personal standard when it comes to domain authority is nothing below 60. 60, so 60 out of 100, that is. So so if that website scores 60 and above, right, then for me personally, those websites are in my good books. But most often, I would not usually accept anything.
How do you get the domain authority from your tool?
From a tool. Just go to moz.com. Go to moz.com. There's a tab there that's called Link Explorer, and you just go ahead and put in the URL in there, and then you get your link authority. But I would like to add another quick trick to backlinking, which is something I think that needs to be said, actually, is linking in social media. This is actually a question I get a lot. If I link my website, social media, does it work? And this and that. Actually, it does. And the reason why is that because the Google crawler treats all websites across the internet pretty much the same. So as in, it crawls all websites the same. Doesn't matter what website. So it's same thing for Facebook as well. So when it's crawling Facebook, inevitably, it's also crawling links. But there's a fine line, right? And this is the part where we talk about do follow links and no follow links. Right? So do follow links tells the Google bot that this page authority can be actually transferred to your website. A no follow basically gives you no SEO power. However, based on some of my experiments, if you will, it's not always the case. So even if it's a no follow, sometimes it actually does help increase your page authority. So there's a little bit of a, it's still a debate, I would say. It's not black and white, but this is solely just based on my experiment. But the other one way to check that is just if you install the no follow Chrome extension. And from there, you'll be able to see whether that website has no follows or do follows. Social media, most of the time, no follows. But it's hit or miss, really.
Cool. So like you said just now, your best practice is you don't you try to avoid pages that link back to you that are below the domain authority of 60.
Personally.
So that leads to Fanny's question, like he calls it spam links, but it can be, some sites that link to you are like sites without any content, like sites that are just site link sites, that sometimes people call spam links. And what do you do if if you have a bad site linking to you?
It's pretty simple. There's actually 4 steps. So I'll make this question, it's a very objective question. So objective answer. First, you want to identify what exactly are those bad links. You go to that website and you simply contact the webmaster or the owner of the website. And then you just ask the webmaster to remove that backlink. Now, however, if they say they ignore your message or they refuse to remove that backlink, then there's a tool which you could use. It's called cognitiveseo.com. And what you can do is basically disavow that link. So as soon as you disavow that link, then you're pretty much good to go. But however, there is still somewhat a negative impact on your website. It's like the damage is done, you know what I mean? But it's always better to do it as soon as you can, though.
My take on that is unless it's very, very very bad spam links, that you get spam links from websites that have very bad content, go the disavow route.
Yes.
Because once you disavow, there's no coming back. I think Google Search Console has a disavow function. You can upload a text file of all the things, but you don't do that unless you fail to contact them or you think that they won't respond to you. So then you can do that. So while we're talking about links, while we're on this topic about links, so one of the questions is, as a small business, I think a lot of small businesses out there like Fion. So a question that came in is, how important is directory submission for SEO?
Very, super, super important.
Yeah, would you like my experience in Malaysia, right? Some directories require you to pay like maybe 600 ringgit, for something like Yellow Pages directory. So would your advice be go for it for small medium enterprises? It
would be worth just to double check their domain authority.
Okay.
Remember, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to put your links in websites that have a very low domain authority because that can backfire.
Okay.
Right. So you want to check whether these directories have a reasonably healthy domain authority, or actually even if they're just generating enough positive traffic, right? But even if it's paid, free, do it. Okay. Because every opportunity to build your links it's going to come back with positive results.
Cool. So check the domain authority before you spend the time to submit to a directory or even pay a directory.
Yeah.
So we have about 7 shares right now. So please share this, another 8 shares, and we'll give out a 179 ringgit MarTech Summit ticket. And when you share, please make the share public. If not, our admin cannot see it, and then we can't count that as a share. Please share it and make it public, or even better, make it a watch party or something. So please share it and make it public. So, there's a lot of questions. So let's. So when it comes to SEO, right? What are so we were talking about links, we're talking about content. So what are sort of the common mistakes that you see when it comes to SEO?
The common mistakes.
Yeah.
There's actually a few. There's however, the ones at least I personally see pretty often are things like duplicate content.
Okay.
And also the just a lack of not only just duplicate content, but also the lack of a content marketing strategy.
Okay.
It's you can't call an SEO project an SEO project without the content component of it.
Yeah.
And that's very important. And sometimes some people will say, you know what, my website is beautifully structured. Our code is beautiful. The Google crawler has, pretty much crawled every single millimeter of my website, but still, I'm not getting ranked and things like that. It's because really there's so many components to it, and you have to include them all as a package, as a package deal. The other thing is also could be sometimes poor site structure. So if your data is all over the place and you have a lot of these sub files, that kind of just, I would recommend not to go further than 3 layers, right, of sub files, maybe 4, maybe maximum.
Okay.
Anything deeper than that, you're kind of going down into like this deep dark hole, right? Okay. Even Google bots don't like that. So keep it sweet. Keep your website's code sweet, short, and simple, right? I call them the 3 S's for code, and also not forgetting things like mobile friendliness.
Okay,
that's actually one of the main Google signals right now.
Okay.
It's like you can have a website, and you might think that but hey, my target audience don't use mobile to search for my website. They're always on desktop, right? If that's the case, that's fine, but it will still affect your SEO on website on a desktop as well.
All right.
So it has to be mobile friendly at the same time, and not using social media. If you're not using social media, or you're not using paid media or paid ads, that as well. Also, so you want to actually include all of them.
Okay.
If you include all these different components, then you're on the right track.
Cool. So you work mostly, Robin. You work mostly with B2B leads, B2B companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there was one question that came in from Marvin is that a lot of B2B marketing is actually leads. So how can you use SEO to get generate leads?
So with SEO, so this I would say the primary factor here are keywords.
Okay.
Right, because especially in the B2B world, decision makers are actively looking for solutions all the time. That's pretty much their job, actually. Yeah. Right? Decision makers are looking ways of improving maybe processes, or maybe they're trying to stay up to date with the latest trends and technology for their businesses. So they're constantly looking for solutions. Now, solutions in the digital marketing world basically means keywords for starters, right? Yeah. So if you put in there, let's say you have, let's say Bob, right? Yeah. You run a car manufacturer, all right? Right? Yeah. Okay, let's say Bob's Automobile, right? Okay. Right. So, but the thing is, let's say Bob realizes that his cars have problem starting. Okay. Right. Yeah. So he's probably going to be doing searches like how do you improve engine starts and things like that, right? So based on those keywords, I'll basically extract those keywords and I'll develop content pieces for them. But in the B2B sense, that usually comes in the form of a pillar page. So let's say there's a client of ours that caters specifically to the car manufacturing industry. Okay. Right. So we're probably going to have a pillar page that includes all of these different components about how to improve the car manufacturing process, or how to include standards or quality. And this is a long piece of content, really long. Sometimes it's a 20-minute read, really depends. Really long piece of content. And then from the pillar page, you have topic clusters. Yeah. And then maybe one of those topics will lead to how to improve, startup motors, or how to what are the latest technology parts for starter motors, for example. So those are the type of content pieces then that you would probably find very valuable. And as long as we get many, Bobs kind of looking for that same solution, that then also generates traffic. And in turn also helps with ranking. And so better ranking, right? No one really goes to the second page of Google anyway, right? So you want to be better ranking equals higher visibility. And by better ranking, usually I mean the first page. Okay. So if it's visible, usually people will click the search results on the first page. And in a nutshell, I think what I gathered from what you just said is create content that solves problems. First, identify what are the problems that your customer has. First is know your audience. All right. First is know your audience. Then you have to define them specifically. Their challenges, what their problems are. Like let's say, So like Bob's challenge here would be, I can't get start my engine basically. Exactly. So that'd be the second part. And then the third part would be basically identifying keywords for your content that revolves around that pain point. So understanding your customer's pain point is especially important for B2B or even B2C for that matter. So understand, if you're selling whatever product you're selling, understand what are the pain points and challenges that your customers have. So let's see some questions. So Mark put a sad face.
Okay, this is a good question from Mark again. So thank you, Mark, for so many questions. So Mark, this is a great question I want to give to Robin. So how do you get links for your clients? So what is the best way to get backlinks?
Actually, various ways. So we have the free way of doing it, and we have the paid way of doing it.
All right, let's do both.
So the free way of doing it is that sometimes we'll just go into Quora. Or we'll write a beautiful content on medium.com. Or we find a relevant thread on Reddit. So we look first on the different types of sources and then the topics revolving around that And then we go there and basically just put in, just fill in the blanks. Really, we say like, let's say if we have a person that's for straight, we have a client that sells a Gantt chart plugin for Jira. For Jira, so Jira it's an Atlassian software. So, for example, you have so then our target audience are project managers. So if I'm a project manager, I'm trying to search like, okay, how is there a plugin where I can easily visualize dependencies, for example, and then a Quora result pops up, right? You go in that Quora result, you're going to see a few different answers, right? But that's an opportunity for you to give your very best answer, your very best solution with a link.
So right? That's the free way.
That's the free way. So Quora, and in Medium, you can actually embed text, so you can use like anchor text and whatnot. So we do that in Medium as well. And so that's more of the free stuff. And on the paid side, then what we do is we work with publications, so tech publications. But again, relevant to the type of relevant to the nature of business that our clients are involved in. So I don't know, Mark, does that satisfy your your question?
That's the paid way.
Or influencers or guest blogs.
One of the ways I generate backlinks is if like I know you, Robin, as Brighttail, and I'm X Academy. So with that relationship, hey, you want a guest blog online? I want a guest blog on you. So work through your network on LinkedIn or whatever, and say, hey, we have this opportunity. Let's exchange links. We guest blog so we exchange blogs with reputable publications or companies or software companies.
Yes,
so
exactly.
That's a free way as well. Of course, there's also other paid ways to get featured on major publications. So keep your questions coming in. We have 10 shares now. So let's see if we can get to 15. We probably have only a few questions left. Let's see if we can get to 15, and then we'll be giving out a ticket to Martech Summit again, worth 179 ringgit. And please go to Martech Summit and learn about the latest trends and topics when it comes to Martech. And there'll be amazing speakers like Khushbu, like even our CEO, Audrey Ling, is one of the panelists there. We have Roberto. We have a lot of speakers for the Martech Summit. So so I think most of the questions we're covered. So I think one of the key trend words is, sometimes in SEO we are very afraid of mistakes, and we are very afraid of getting penalized. So what are the ways, we can get penalized as a website for SEO?
It's actually quite hard to get penalized.
All right.
It takes an effort, I would say, to get penalized. But where's the question exactly? Do I get penalized? Okay. Okay, so, some ways are buying links. Right? So if you're buying links that are not correlated or not relevant to what you're actually offering, the Google bot can basically detect that. So let's say if you have a clothing line or a clothing website, and then you bought, you're buying links to on a print shop. A print shop website, for example, there's no correlation there. Right. So you could, and if you do that regularly enough, you can also get penalized for that. And also kind of excessive link sharing, but not in the sense where you're sharing links on various platforms and things like that, but you're just kind of bombarding. So using like the same links, and you see that happen a lot on Facebook. Like let's say in Facebook comments, if the same guy just post the same link after another, and then you see like just 50 of the same links. Right. That link basically gets penalized as well. So if that link happens to your homepage, then you're pretty much screwed. Duplicate content.
Duplicate content
as well.
So you'll get penalized when you basically duplicate someone else's content on your website. Correct.
Duplicating a lot of content, because the thing is, the Googlebot knows this. There's no way of getting around this, because when a specific URL is being indexed by Google, that information is stored. Right? So Google knows right? So it's like, okay, this piece of content exists, it's been indexed, and suddenly someone else from a different part of the world uses the exact same piece of content. Google will find that out pretty much instantaneously. And that I would actually say is one of the worst things you could probably get yourself involved in, because duplicate content does happen more often than not, more than the other things that I mentioned earlier.
So just to give audience a context, what happens when you get penalized? You disappear from the first page, or what happens?
Yeah, no, definitely. For starters, you disappear on the first page. I would say you probably disappear from the first 50 pages. And you has
it happened to any of your projects before?
No. It's never happened. For the most part, I only apply white hat tactics. But I have before. I did have a client about a year ago who had a website that was penalized, and he tried to get me to kind of clean up his website. And boy, that was a project. That took a lot.
How do you depenalize?
I basically, what I did, I just restructured his whole website. I completely restructured. So I chucked away all the links. I basically kind of just left the website at its bare minimum. Bare minimum. And then I indexed that URL. So once I index, I get a response for that. And then basically I'll put in one main keyword there. And then I'll see if it pops up. It usually can take up to maybe a week or so. And let's say after it has finally popped up, back into maybe the first 10 pages or the first 20 pages, then you basically start building it up again. So it's like you gotta start everything all over again.
So it's but first, don't get penalized by Google, and use whatever tactics that are more legal. Don't go for any black hat tactics.
No keyword stuffing or abusing header tags. This would work in 2010, 2011. A lot of agencies, in fact, back then, were like, "Oh yeah, you want to get ranked for this? Okay." So they put that keyword,
and then they
everywhere.
They put it, and then they make the keyword white, so it blends in against the page.
They do that as well.
It was like 2005.
They do that as well. So, but those days are long gone.
So my sometimes people ask me, how do I get, what are the best practices when it comes to SEO? I always say, create great content. You will never go wrong if you keep creating great content and offer value, and of course the keyword research is part of that, and you will get traffic to your site as long as you plan to offer value and create great content. Google's intent in the end is to give a good user experience to their audience. So any thoughts on that?
So content is definitely very centric towards SEO projects. But at the same time, when you look at content, you have to also look at the creativity aspect of your content. So for the most part, naturally, when people think of content, you think about long articles, blog pages, things like that, right? But don't be shy to use various types of media. So you can have an article, but then you incorporate things like videos, GIFs, and that, in fact, is a new signal for 2019. It's a brand spanking new signal. So if you're if the Google bot basically detects that you have various forms of media, right, in a single page, Google would basically puts preference on that, on those type of results, as opposed to just kind of basic articles. So for the longest time, it's just been articles. That's it. But now you have videos, you have images, diagrams, infographics, as part of one single web page.
I even noticed the change when it comes to the search. We call it SERP, but it's these. So for your keyword or for your industry, please monitor the SERP, which is monitor the search engine results page. So I've realized in 2019, a lot of SERP contains video, images, and even the SERP sometimes have this, we call it rank 0, which is like a snippet. So a featured snippet on the search result. So
That's a markup.
That's a markup.
That's schema markup.
Yeah. So Robin, just to ask you, I know this is not part of our questions, but anything that the audience should take note of with the latest Google algorithm updates?
At least, that'll probably bring me back to the first point, which is the schema markups.
Okay.
That to me was a breakthrough this year.
Oh, so that really helps for 2019.
Yes, absolutely. Recently we had this one blog page for a client, and we saw that there were lists, but then the data behind that list was not structured according to the schema markup. So I went around, I changed that.
Okay.
So before that search for that keyword, which was scaffolding types.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have all kinds of
very niche keywords.
We have also a bunch of very unique clients as well.
Yeah.
So one of them is doing basic scaffolding software.
Yeah.
So there's one blog page that says that talks about scaffolding types.
Okay.
And when you put in scaffolding types, that page would rank on the third or fourth page.
Okay.
I went in there, changed it around, included the schema markup, and literally the next day, it was the first result on the first page.
Wow.
so to me that was like, whoa, and that was in 2 days.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, so to our audience, right, the keyword here, the best tip we can give you when it comes to SEO, so check out the best schema markups that you can use for your
schema markups and user intent. I think these are probably the two main words to take back,
especially for 2019. So I think that's pretty much it for all our questions. We've been doing this for an hour. So thank you so much for tuning in. So do join us if you want to learn digital marketing. Next week, we're launching the intake for our digital marketing product launch bootcamp. We have different experts. So I always talk to our students. I say you cannot learn everything that comes to digital marketing. Like Robin's expertise is SEO, and Robin, is the expert when it comes to SEO, and also, but Robin knows how everything works together, from Facebook ads to page optimization to Google AdWords to social media. So we have different experts with different depth. So I teach Facebook ads. We have Robin. We have another expert teaching chatbots. We have an analytics expert to teach Google Analytics. We have Google AdWords and YouTube ads expert to teach Google Ads. So you'll get to interact with people who are in different fields of digital marketing. But the goal of learning digital marketing is to know how everything works together. We call it a T-shaped marketer.
T-shaped marketer.
So T-shaped marketer. So do join us. If you want to learn from experts, you can also ask questions directly to Robin in his face. Say, hey, how can you guarantee me his SEO results? So that's you can ask him what's his best practices, what does he do at work, and things like that. So hope to see you register at nextacademy.com. Hope to see you next week for our digital marketing product launch weekend. So I'll say bye for now. See you again. Bye.